I want to tell you that this is a very special moment because under this man right here, Mr. Shaban, I have got to experience the most incredible type of energy I've ever experienced. I have never worked as hard as I've worked now. And I don't know if that's a great thing, Bill, but it feels amazing. And I want to say that the brave and confident character of someone who's always looking out for what's best, he continues to stand up for everyone and our vision. And I'm personally glad to be standing behind you, kind of keep it going. So I'd like to welcome one of the greatest people I've ever worked for, Mr. Bill Shaban, to the floor.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I know people have traveled a great distance, and even those who came that are local. Thank you for coming. It was Dr. Sam Alloway. He is the VP of CEN Biotech, great friend. Next to him is Jeff. Jeff Thomas is the VP of Creative Edge Nutrition. He handles the supplement side. He's the guru, the flavorist, the guy who knows everyone in the supplement industry. He's building the synergy side of the company. There's Joe Birney, who is a great member of our team, another local, and he'll talk about himself in a little bit. We've got Dennis Sylvester. He's a local contractor, a friend. He's building out the project, doing the interior of the 27,000 square foot building and the new build of the 53,000 square foot. A good friend of mine, Don Strelchuk, 33 years on the Windsor Force. Big guy, 32 years on the Windsor Police Force. We have Dean, 33, 32? 27 years, ex-DEA, ex-Secret Service.
Yes, Homeland Security.
Homeland Security. This is just part of our team. So, very, very tight group, good group of people. And I'd like to thank you all for coming, for sharing our vision, or for shareholders and maybe future shareholders. It's a very exciting time for us. Things aren't happening construction-wise as fast as we'd like. We're pushing. Dennis is pushing. You know, we're trying to get things done. The weather hasn't been cooperating. It's been horrendous this year. Dennis called the other day and said frost line's 6 inches lower.
Yeah, we have to go deeper with the footings because the frost is so deep.
Frost is so deep. Another 30 meters of concrete. Just, you know, a cost we didn't anticipate, but it's. I assure you, it's real and it's happening. We're building this facility. We will get licensed. In my opinion, I don't strive for failure. I strive for success. I would never take on a project I knew I couldn't handle or accomplish, and I built a team around me that I knew could pull it off. We will be the best. We will be the biggest. I settle for nothing less, and I thank you for coming, and I'd like to introduce Joe. Joe's going to have a few words.
Thanks very much, Bill and Sam. And all of you for coming out.
Sorry, Joe. I'm very shy, and prior to like 3 months ago, you would never find a picture of me online, social media. You wouldn't see me anywhere. I was the guy who was low-key, but yeah. But for shareholders, and now I'm on media phone calls every day. Everybody wants pictures. You want send us your headshot. I don't have a headshot. Yeah, got the guy from the Free Press taking a picture of me and Sam. It's so embarrassing, you know.
That was so awkward.
It's so awkward. Yeah. So I do it for all of you, and you know I get criticized. He's wearing a T-shirt, and it's like I never had it on my schedule. I'll get a call, and they'll say, "It was you seen Inc. magazine. Inc. magazine wants a call right now. They want to run it. You got to do an interview." Okay, but I drop everything. No matter what I'm doing, it's on my schedule. I'll do the interview because I know that It gets awareness out there, it helps the company, it builds your share price up, builds shareholder value. And my job is to get our company everywhere, to make us known, to get our share price solid, stable, we want to make our stock liquid. And I have my team that stands behind me that's handling everything, building the project. So I'm focusing forward, acquisitions, synergistic partnerships, relationships, and I have my team behind me that's building the facility.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Bill, and I'll try to give you a little bit of perspective. I'm a lifelong resident from this area, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about the area, and a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And Sam, I'll defer to Sam to give you the meat and potatoes of what this is all about. And of course, Bill, I have to say this, I get a lot of phone calls these days from people, and I'm quite gratified when I get them. Commonly, people might be looking for a job or might have an interest in a topic to do with this project because it's high profile. But invariably, what they're calling to ask me about is, do I know Bill? And so that's become one of my primary calling cards now. I know Bill, and I may get cards printed up with that just because he is a remarkable man. It's been one of the great privileges of my life to get to know Bill and Sam and this team. It's a very capable team, a brilliant team, and a very passionate team. In my case, as I said, I grew up in this area, and what I knew was farming. I grew up farming. When as far back as I can recall, I worked at student labor. The first thing that I was good at was student labor. I can recall when I started school, I was 5 years old. I used to get off the bus, go out to the tomato field, try to pick 10 hampers. My mother had called me because it was dark, and I tried to stay quiet and in the vines because maybe I'd only had 7 or 8 picks so far. So I grew up with that. Work is second nature to me. I grew up with work. On the farm in those days, your work, your play, your social life, it was all blended. You could say we're indistinguishable one from the other. And so work was second nature. And I had a reputation for hard work. But when I see how I've approached my life compared to these gentlemen, it makes me think I got to get going. I mention that for a very good reason. In my case, in my family, as far back as we know, on both sides, we're farm folks. And we've always been dedicated to the farm. We've always believed in the farm. We've always believed that agriculture, historically and presently, is the backbone of any economy. So I worked at the farm for years. When I was about 40, one of the members of the county council asked me if I would be interested in going to law school. I said no. My wife found out about the conversation, filled out a law school app for me, asked me to sign it, and I went to law school on one condition, that I wouldn't give anything else up. At the time, I was still elected to county council and local council here in the old township of Maidstone. We're now in the amalgamated town of Lakeshore. And my condition to myself was that I would go, provided I kept farming, provided I kept coaching hockey, provided I could keep raising my young kids. We had 5 kids at the time, young, and add law school on top of it. For me, that was a wonderful decision, because I remained connected with the community, with the economy, with the broader enterprise of life generally. So I fast forward to now. I spent 11 years on municipal councils. We have the ex-mayor of Lakeshore here, Bob Croft. Where are you, Bob?
Not here.
Yeah. I had the privilege of serving on council with Bob, and you talk about a force for our community and for what's good in Lakeshore. We have an awful lot to thank Bob for. I fast forward to now. I'm currently practicing law. I run the farm. We have two sides to it, cash crops, which to us is corn, wheat, and beans, and we have a vegetable side. We grow about 55 different crops last year. Marijuana will be the 56th. It's another crop. And that's very important to us. When I was invited by Jim Chaban, the owner of this property, where are you, Jim? Up there, yeah, right up there. Yeah, thank you, Jim, for all that you've done for this project and for us, and thank you for inviting me into this enterprise. And I sat down with Jim and Bill, and then Sam and the group. I was blown away by a couple of things. Here I've worked away at farming and agriculture all of my life, and you know the adage on the farm is live poor, die rich. The rich is simply you buy land, but it takes a lot to pay the bills to keep it going. Any of you that are farmers know that. Here was finally a possibility in agriculture where there was the possibility of engaging in a very lucrative economic enterprise. And it's validation for sticking with the farm and what the farm is all about. I'm currently also chair of the Windsor Essex Economic Development Board of Directors. And when times got hard here in the city of Windsor and Essex County, we began to talk to people generally, people at large. There's no one saving grace for this economy. What everyone needs to do is pool their talents, pool their resources, pool their thinking, develop their ideas, convert them into businesses. And it was our job to help people get a boost with that enterprise. Along comes this project, and there's the possibility of revitalizing this community. There's economics, there's jobs, there's this confidence that a project like this gives to agriculture. It's really a wonderful story for Lakeshore, for this region, for all of us. And I give you that perspective because without it, I don't think anyone can understand how deeply the passion burns to make a project like this one successful. I have it in spades. I'll die with it. But I see it in the team members. You're going to see it with Sam when Sam speaks. Bill has it. I've never seen the kind of drive in an individual as Bill has exhibited on this project. If it's necessary to go to San Francisco and then New York, Bill's there. Constant. And I see it with our team members generally. There's a passion that you just can't underestimate to make this successful, and for very good reasons. Never mind economics, never mind shareholders. Think of the good of the community. Think of all the people suffering with illnesses that can be helped through this enterprise. And the passion will burn in you as deeply as it does in us. So thank you for listening to me. I just wanted to underline how important this project is for everyone. And with that, I would like to introduce one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. I asked Sam to mention my name in high places because Sam's certainly there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for bringing everybody as close as possible to our drive and our passion for what we are trying to do. It's about a vision and really asking ourselves, what do we see? And it's so tough because for me, I've always been in the private space. I've always been in a position where
I'm in control of what I'm trying to do, and I can make incredibly passionate claims because it's my own business. And what's been very difficult for me is trying to comprehend these rules about getting involved in a public vehicle. So I'm always at a standstill, because my drive and my passion and my hunger for this is to exist. I believe that several thousand years ago, medicine, products, had opportunities that were fundamentally already existing for healing, getting better. There's a calmity about this project because what we're forgetting is it's natural. And to me, that's amazing. Getting away from the hype. You know? This supplement and this and this and this and this and this. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars looking at products to try to help people. And for thousands of years, it's been in existence. So what is the vision? What is the fundamental principle of what we're trying to do? Grow millions of pounds? We're doing it already. It's called creating awareness. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to do it with due diligence. Because from what I've learned in the practices of business, it's something very simple. One word: fact. Fact is existence. Because without fact, there's no matter. You must understand the fundamental principle of what we're trying to do. I have personally walked away from plenty of opportunities. I've had multiple opportunities. And I've dissected so many things I've wanted to do in so many industries. But this is natural. And there's a responsibility to bring credibility back to what is natural. Because our job is not to make claims. Our job is to discover and discover and discover and discover again. That's what we're going to do. I promise you that. And we're going to use fact. And we're going to do the due diligence. And we may not comprehend, me personally, how to conduct A, B, and C in policy, but I promise you there's a subject matter expert there. So what is the principle? We stand on three foundations: persistence, integrity, and innovation. Persistence is sitting around the room, looking at Bill and going, 1.3 million pounds, Bill? And it starts with one plant, 1 pound, one strain, one type of gene that has been around for thousands of years, and dissecting that information and respecting its behavior. Because when we respect its behavior, we can comprehend exactly what we need to do to let it flourish. And then we can take a calculator and multiply that by 1.3 million pounds. And then we can take reality, which is a technicality, right? And we bring every subject matter expert in and refuse to have egos, to be responsible. And that's exactly what we did. And I tell you, some of these stories, some of these conversations, if I can record them, the imaginations. Sounds like 4 or 5-year-olds sitting at a table playing imagination with their teacups. I have a daughter who's almost 3 years old. And I sit there and I love sitting in the imagination space. Because it gives us the chance to have opportunity. And then we can take opportunity, we could take philosophy, we could take fundamentals, and bring fact into the matter. And then bring a bulldog. And act on a foundation of principles. And so from there, we put together a group of individuals. And we were able to start dissecting. And we look at the fundamentals of strains and what they needed. You look at fundamentals of the grow technologies that are out there, the practices in agriculture, the practices in drug manufacturing, the respect of CGMP policies, and you sit around for hours and hours on end, collectively as a team, to put in something concrete. To look at workflow systems and measure every bit of them, to say which one are we going to select that is going to give us the opportunity. Do we want to approach the strategy of all or nothing failure? Or do we want to approach of learn and grow, learn and grow, learn and grow? And do we want to ignore the cofactors of time? Dennis will tell you, hey Dennis, can we do this in like 2 days? And that's what he does to me. Okay, how about this one? Like this material here, is it here? Do you have it? Why would I have it? It's got to be ordered. And so you have all these cofactors. And fundamentally, we decided to go with a triphasic model. And I was challenged by the word triphasic. That's not a word. I said, look it up. And it was a word. It's to allow for 3 phases to fundamentally coexist at the same time. It's to take a look at a structure, put all the components in the structure and say, 27,000 square feet. Gentlemen, give us every bit of every square foot and then multiply it by 2.5 is what we want to do in that square foot. And so we managed to put together a tri-level facility, down to every inch. And then we calculated turbulent workflow systems, and filtration systems, and monitoring parameters, and CGMP policies and protocols, and security systems I'm already afraid of, to even just show up and have a bad day. It gets kept for 2 years. So whatever you did that day, you know. And fundamentally, it got down to the opportunity at hand. And then there's me, the private industry individual who needs to understand now that there are policies in place in the public vehicle. Refrain from X. There are policies in place for regulatory agencies. We must respect and be responsible. Refrain from Y. Sam, here, take a note last minute. Do not discuss any deals at this time. We're under a gag order. Really? I am eating, breathing, and sleeping this thing 18, 20 hours a day, and I'm just going to stand here? No way. What can we do? What can we show? What can we provide that's substance? It's almost, what's incredible about this is we give people so much opportunity to engage, but it's so difficult because there's such a responsibility. And so we decided to do this triphasic model. In your packets, we tried to be as detailed as possible with the principles of approach, the triphasic model concept, and how we could start thinking about building 3 and what it's going to do in what markets, and building 2, and building 1. And the question goes to, when will it be done? When will it be done? And then I get a phone call. We need to defrost this component here, we need this for that. And what does that mean? What does that mean? It means hold off on electrical for a week. Or concrete. We can't do that, we can't do that. Heart attack. Everyone's having a heart attack because it's all about getting it done, getting it done, getting it done, getting it done. Then what happens? No one gets it done. We're already racing to do something that isn't fathomable. We want to add on to that? Hey, do something that is not existing right now, and we want it now. Can you do that too? Can you prove your model and then do it now on top of that? Without appearing irresponsible? Or can you discuss cofactors? Can you be as prepared as possible? Can you just get your team to work 7 days a week and try to keep them happy? Double shift, by the way. I remember the other day, Abraham, we got off at 6, and it felt weird. And we went and saw our friends, and they're, "You're home early." I'm like, "Do not ever say that ever again, because it's 6:30 p.m." What is going to happen is we are going to work every single day on substance. And we're going to be responsible. We're going to tell you exactly what's completed, what's in progress, what's coming, and what are the cofactors. And when is it going to get done? Tomorrow! No. But I promise you, tomorrow, 7 a.m., we'll be there, and we'll be looking at door number 23 of pod number 56 of this 1,000 square foot, and how we're arguing, how it should go left and not right. And that's what we'll be doing. And that's what we'll continue to do, and we will continue to be responsible for you. You have my word. You have my full surrendered compassion to do everything it's going to take. But in the means and the environments that we have and that we allow, which means there's a responsibility for you, because you have the opportunity to walk away. You do. For those of you who don't believe it, please do. Because for us, if it's 6 of us in this room or 600 of us, it's about substance. Not about noise. I'm not interested in that personally. I'm not going to allow it. That's for sure. But I'm one guy. So please, pound on the CEO 50 times a day. Do it. Do it while he hasn't seen his children for 4 days. Do it. Do it, because that's exactly what I would want to do if I was working. There are real people here, ladies and gentlemen. Give them a chance to be responsible, because as much as you want your earnings to be where they're going to be, why do you think they're doing it? Why? That's for you to answer. And that's for you to decide what's real and what's not. And that's for you to want to ignore or respect what's happening. That's all I can tell you. But we're going to be responsible. So, with that being said, I'd like us to come to this facility and talk fact. Fact one, we have been working on multiple avenues of funding. Fact two, there are multiple people interested in our fact. Fact three, we have a facility layout that we believe and we will prove to do initially 60,000 pounds a year. And when people ask, how, and how many lights? How many plants? Answer, calculator here, calculator there, calculator here. Fact is my answer. And time is what's relevant. And patience will give the ultimate prize of consequence, which is either a pro or a con. But either way, it's a consequence. So, with that being said, I'd like to bring down Melinda. She has concrete information that she's going to go over with you.
Dr. Santa, everybody, fantastic. Take most of the words out of my mouth and put them together much better. My name is Melinda, and I am part of the agricultural and engineering firm sorry, a little bit sick, so bear with me. Robert up there is our agricultural engineer. We have a few other fantastic people who couldn't be here tonight. We were privileged with the task of designing this building and mashing together the pharmaceutical industry, which has such strict regulations, and the medical aspect behind it and the care of the patients ultimately, because what we are producing is medicine. Yes, it's a plant, but it is medicine, and we view it no different than any other medicine out on the market. It's not really out on the market.
Can you hear me, Rob?
I hear perfectly.
Okay.
So, we needed to create a facility that was going to be medically sound, safe, efficient, and productive, and fit that into 26,000 square feet. So we went vertical. We decided to squeeze in every little inch we could with the 3 floors, and I can't wait till we get to the second building and the third building and the more space to work with, because it just makes everything so much more fun. This is a challenge.
One second, if I can interject. Our original layout was 4 buildings to be all built and completed at one time.
Yes.
Because of pressure and a call and an email from Health Canada saying, we need product, can you retrofit your existing building? We will work with you, can you get it up and running? So I'll meet with the team, met with the team, and said, okay, scrap the original plans, we need to retrofit the existing building to build a facility out that we can get licensed and start growing to meet the demand that's required by the patients and by Health Canada. So everything we had up to that point had to be thrown aside, and Melinda and her team had to recreate, start over with the 27,000 square foot building.
While everybody's pounding on the door, is it built yet? Is it built yet? Is it built yet? And we're back to square one. The existing structure was initially intended to be solely used for storage and shipping and receiving and order fulfillment.
And 2 vaults.
And vaults. We were not going to put one plant in the existing structure in the original plan. So we had to make the existing structure become its own self-contained facility and operate as if there were no other buildings, and as if there were going to be any other buildings, because the ground is still frozen and Dennis couldn't put any footings in. So we sat down, and the most important feature of this facility is the vault, because the safety and the security of what we are cultivating was extremely important. And we basically put the vault in first and designed everything else around it.
And on that note, we can't discuss too much in regard to the vaults due to restrictions by Health Canada. But what we can tell you is that it is a feat of engineering that's never been done before. This is like, trying to fit a skyscraper inside an aircraft carrier. The whole entire building is basically going to be revolved around that vault, flooring of the vault, and it's going to be sound kind of like secretive. It's not my nature to be mysterious. Can't talk about it. Can't talk about why. A movie quote? Anybody? Oh my God, you're killing me. The vault serves as a multi-purpose. Obviously, one, security. Two is workflow. Something that Dr. Sam Alloway has worked extremely hard and kind of, blew our minds away is how every detail, every second, every movement of an employee in this facility is controlled and regulated. How they breathe, how they eat, how they go to the bathroom is all controlled. Every single piece of paper, every pen that's in this facility is controlled and regulated. Now, what we were trying to do is incorporate the control aspect, which Health Canada has bestowed upon us, and then mixing in agricultural into a prison. It's never been done before. This type of building doesn't exist anywhere, and especially the way that we're going to be controlling the environment. Not only the climate base, but we're going to be controlling every single aspect. On the first floor is for the engineers. The first floor is probably the most beautiful piece of artwork that we've really ever seen. The growing aspect, I'm a big fan of the growing part of it, but it seems to be second to the quality control. We can't show you too much of the workflow, unfortunately, just yet. This information is highly classified at the moment because it has a very
valuable.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to even show anybody the inside of the building once it's done. You have to pass where's guy at? What's the regulations for the security? You have to have some sort of Canadian top secret clearance to even walk into the building. So when the employees come in something like this, they have to be checked head to toe. They have to be decontaminated. Then they have to check and see if they're even healthy enough to work in the facility. So if they're sick, they can't come in. Then there's decontamination processes before you even get into the workflows. This takes time. Never really been done before. This is how are we going to bring dirt through there? How are we going to bring in agricultural into this type of facility? It's unprecedented, and we're excited to show you as much as we can. But I'm not sure too much what I can divulge here. But you can see this little complicated section here on the bottom left. That is a very intricate vault disbursement system, and it's what's given us a lot of headaches right now. Enormous headaches. We have to sink floors and put extra footings. This thing weighs 660,000 pounds per 20 feet, I think.
The whole thing. We're probably close to 1 million pounds, though, since we went bigger.
Yeah, it's quite a bit more. But these are some of the challenges that we're facing at the moment. We're moving ahead as fast as we possibly can. Like Dr. Alloway said, we are literally working 7 days a week, over 12 hours a day, trying to incorporate the two systems together, agricultural and pharmaceutical control. This is an agricultural project. This is about farming. Farming is a dirty process. how do we sterilize it? We have some methods that we'll discuss here in the future, and we'll start to release as we lay out the second and third floor for the growing process, which is right around the corner. We're getting there as soon as the footings and the second floor level is done. The other challenges that we're having right now is water. This facility is going to consume mass amounts of water, and we have to make sure that we control the impact to the local environment. No impact to the local environment. We want to improve the area with this type of agriculture. We don't want to destroy or not even, there's no way for us to destroy the environment here. It is only the perception of, are we taking every single steps that we can to make sure that we have zero waste products to the local environment. And we are doing that in an unbelievable water reclaim system. We're going to be reusing most of all of our wastewater and zero particles back into the environment. Same with our power consumption here. The power of this building is going to be consuming more than anything else around here. Currently, right now, there's solar panels on the building. That is just to assist back into the local power grid. We're having to install mass amounts of power lines to coming back into the facility. During this time, that's another difficult process, but we're making our headway. So the completion of the Alpha building is really based on that vault and how fast we can get it here. I don't know how we can say any timetables here, but
We're working on it.
it's coming. It's coming. We're breaking construction equipment right now. Sorry about that. I heard about the piece there. We'll replace it, I promise. But the weather has been really challenging for us in completing the building, but it's not going to stop us. We're going to push through it. We got a nice little break, and we'll start making progress so we can take some days off eventually. But as you see in your phase one in most of your packets here, you can see what's been completed. The workflow models, the 3D modeling, interior layouts, everything as far as we can get is done, weather permitting. The workflow model is something that I'd really love to share with you, because it's what's really impressed me about this facility. The attention to detail, every single labor hour, every move that's in this place is calculated. Like I said before, down to bathroom breaks, rest breaks, movement throughout the entire facility is one perfect loop. The section part here,
We could probably add shared department titles, give them the idea of the substance. There's a QA/QC component. There's a which is quality assurance, quality control. But it starts with initial department we call the anti department, because that's where we get all the dirt, whatever is dirty, clean. And then we walk into a process where there is an initial workflow model on one component of the building receiving and having material acquisition. And so there's a workflow for materials to get clean, and there's a workflow for personnel to get clean. And from there, it's about the departments. And so your second and your third floor are focused on the actual agricultural growth. On your first floor is really where all the labor starts to happen in terms of the substance and moving a finished product through. And so you have a harvesting unit, and you have a product tailoring unit. We intend on fully applying the concept of customization and taking patient product customization to the next level. To consider that the quality of in itself will be a brand. And we have focused on systems to look at a model and a concept that if, for example, I'm eating a meal in a facility that is located in Texas and is located in New York, and I order the same meal, I would like the same meal, please. There's an expectation level for the consumer, for the patient. There's a quality level, a percent identification level of THC, CBN, CBD, and other components that are yet to be understood by the market. And by providing such catalog of products that is distinct, then the workflow will make sense, because the yield will make sense. The processes can then be identified and grouped, and we can get to a final product. A final product with tremendous amount of security and workflow systems, technology for identification, to be able to recognize a strain delivered to a patient out of the province, to be able to look back 3 months from now, 3 months prior, at a lot number and indicating the exact specs and how many we have left and how it's doing and what type of yields. Because one of the things we are focusing on as a firm is availability. You have to predict 30 to 90 days in cycles for product. And then you have to look and consider patient trend analysis to say, we anticipate X amount of utilization 3 months from now. How do we do that? Because if there is a 56-year-old female on a particular product and there was a higher demand or there was a quarantine of product, what type of system are we going to have to maintain? So great, we can build product. Are we looking at it as one product? Absolutely not. Initially, we're looking at up to 50. And we are focusing on these strains. And do we have all the data? No, we don't. But we can be responsible, and we can have an R&D component, and we can collect as much as we can to provide free information. And more importantly, utilize it for our patients. That's what's important. That's what we have to remember. It's not just about growing a product. It's about patients and their needs and meeting them. Imagine you had to wait 3 to 4 weeks to get your medicine. That's the real problem. Imagine you got a product and you don't feel the same way as you did the last time you got it. And then the next time it felt different. And the next time it felt different. There are some serious side effects for very delicate patients. And if we can't respect that, we don't have a business. We don't. We just have product for access. That's all you have. And I understand and I respect where we are as a market right now, which is what? Oh, you can get it here. And you can get it here. Sterile water was on back order for 6 months in the United States of America last year. Sterile water. Why do I make that link? Why do I thought it? Because you have to consider something. You have product demand right now is access. Let's go, get the license, get the license. Congratulations. Now what? Well, someone has to call Someone needs product. Oh, here's a tub. Here's a little, get this here, put cap in here. What is it? It's ready. It's ready. No. Absolutely not. That's not a business. That's not a model. That's reckless. That's reckless. There's no quality recognition. It's not feasible to know your yields as a business model. So how do you commit to labor? How do you commit to expense? What if you're ordering a ton of soy? You think that's not going to be an issue? And where does that come from? It's about the factors and cofactors that are about predictability and accountability. And I'll say that all the time. Not about access. We're over it. Now, we hope to have access as a company, right? But not for the sake of having access. Congratulations. For the sake of substance. And so when the product gets product tailored, in the product tailoring unit, it goes to QA QC. Why does it go to QA QC? You now can answer that yourself. And then it gets released for fulfillment. And order fulfillment will be in 1 gram, 5 gram, 15 gram, and 30 gram technologically tracked containers of product with product specifications that I don't want to keep for a year or 2 years. I want to keep for life, because that's data. That's good data. And from then, the product gets shipped and tracked and traced. And there will be patient utilization. And we don't want to say just take your order. No. We want to talk to you. We want to work with you, and we want to work with your doctor. Because it's not about, oh, you got product. No. Doctor, what is this utilization for? Great. Did we accomplish it? No. Back to the drawing board. Doctor, what is this for? Great. Did we accomplish it? Yes. Save it. Until your power number gets so big that it just keeps growing. How many times do we accidentally say the word grow now? It's getting ridiculous. You know? And that's the process. That's what the facility is going to do. And that's the departments. That's the department. And not to mention, obviously, security has been heavily, heavily stressed. And that's great. Because we want to sleep at night knowing that access is going properly and responsibly to a product. And that's our philosophy, especially for this model. And we believe that there is substance in our mechanism because we've calculated how many people, for how many hours, in how many anticipations of the models that are going to occur have all been calculated. And Mr. Rich Boswell there, the most exciting man I've ever met. I mean that sincerely, he's exciting in many ways. He's there to tell us worst case, best case, and common case scenarios. Because what we don't want is to start a project and go, yeah, and then 3 months later go, wait a minute. Cricket. Congratulations, you know. That's not what it's about. Because in 3 months from now, if it is cricket, I promise you we will have all the data as to why. And then we'll sit around, and this crazy bull here will say, no, get it in here. And we'll get to work. We'll do our jobs.
until you say enough is enough. Or you say, keep going.
We're long.
Yeah.
We're going long.
You're the man. Big round of applause for him.
You can see the passion, and you can see that it's more than just building a building and planting plants, picking bud and selling bud. It's way more than that to us. It's about giving patients quality medicine month after month, order after order. We're not after the recreational market. In my mind, there is no recreational market. We are getting licensed to supply medical marijuana to the patients who need it. And some people say, Bill's too focused on money, too focused on share price, too focused on this. That, at the core of it, that is what drives us, the patient. Supplying the patients what they need on a regular basis. And to have that, people are terrified right now that there's not going to be product on the market April 1st. And it's a huge concern. And there's going to be products out there under our license once we get it. Okay, that's to qualify for Health Canada if we get it. Okay, we have the ability to import-export. We can import finished marijuana from Netherlands or any other country where Canada will allow it from. And we could sell that product, but we don't want to, because the minute we sell somebody else's product, our name and reputation's on it. Yeah, it might look good for you on the balance sheet. You say, oh, wow, look at the revenue. But as the whole, for a company, it's the worst thing we could ever do. You have one shot. You have one shot to make the impression. And we're doing everything. Everything's a class act here. We're not, there's no, excuse my language, half act. We do it right, and we do it right the first time. And the people on our team, they strive for perfection, because we accept nothing less from ourselves or from anybody else on the team.
We take pride in what we're doing. We take honor in what we're doing. And that's why we're not rushing it, and that's why we're not done, because we don't want to just be done. We want to be successful, and we want to be proud of what we've created, and we want to be proud of what we're passing off to the patients ultimately, because that is what it's all about. It's medicine, and it has to qualify. It's not just a plant to it.
Keep in mind, it's, we're using the philosophy, take your time and hurry up. And that's the yin and yang in the project. You know, as long as we're 100% confident, you know, there's a simple equation here, right, Rich? You want to explain the three factors in the equation of quality?
You know, this project is all about delivering consistent, safe medicine to our patients, to the patients who need it. That's all this is about. And this facility is designed to ensure that our employees are safe, that our investments are safe, and that our products are safe. That's what it comes down to. And nothing else is acceptable, period.
So with that being said, there's a lot of us here, and we have time, and we have food, and we also have due diligence for a lot of our other shareholders who couldn't be here. So what we'd like to do, we've put together a frequently asked an actual questions component. We're going to be posting every question with an answer online because we want to keep it fully transparent. I learned one of the rules is when you share information with one person, you share it with everybody because it's privy to shareholder information. And what we could do is I recommend we break off into groups if we'd like to have personal visits to discuss. We'll actually have also, we'll be writing down some of your questions as well. And we'll try to keep tabs as much as we can on questions. But we're happy to take a few right now.
Yeah, just as far as like shareholders go, I'm just wondering, like, do you have like a CFO who, or someone who will report to investors when it comes to numbers? Who's that person? So, as far as, a couple questions if I may.
Go ahead.
If I can
yeah,
just one
sure.
second. I was brought in to this company almost 2 years ago. And it was my first, myself and Jen. Three now? Three. Wow.
Three, when we got all this.
That's crazy. Okay, so I've lost a year. I myself am in private business and was in private business. It was a big adjustment to get into a public vehicle and be transparent and tell everybody everything you're doing. And I'm almost on a daily basis. But the vehicle we took over was it's OTC pink, and it's not fully reported. And to me, that was a big problem because I believe in transparency. When people are investing and you're taking people's money, they have the absolute right to know everything, where their money is going. And it's my goal, our team's goal, to uplist as soon as possible. 100%. And we're hoping for May. There were some acquisitions that are on the books, and the books just, unfortunately on the supplement side, these guys, it was their own personal business, and they didn't keep good records, and they weren't auditable. So we weren't able, it's holding us back right now from uplisting, but I've been told by our SEC CPA that the books should be ready in May. And we have every intention to uplist. Our goal is NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange or Amex, not just OTC. We believe that this company should end up on NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. But we're doing everything now.
More importantly, we believe in adopting those policies. Coming into the company and learning about, the foundation and what's been built. Rich, if you want to explain a little bit about your background and what your primary target for the company is initially.
Well, my background is purely business. I'm not a doctor of pharmacy like Sam. I'm not an expert in the public side like Bill, but I think what Bill said really struck a chord. I'm absolutely grounded in integrity and transparency, and that's what we're going to focus on. And we have the right experts doing what we need to do to position ourselves, and we fully intend to take their recommendations and implement regular, clear, concise reporting cycles. I mean, there's no magic to accounting, and everybody understands it, I think, at a fundamental level, if you're not even an expert. But it's the transparency that we're all about. And we're engaging, like they said, to uplist. There's people that know a lot more about the specifics of how to do that than any of us, and we're happy to engage them to be able to get to that point. So that's probably the best answer I can give.
So issued in outstanding shares right now?
Pardon me?
Issued in outstanding shares right now?
Bill?
I think we're at 3.5 is our OS. I think issued is 3.3. We had a transaction that I had reversed. We acquired 3 stores outside of Toronto. The books were atrocious. He submitted receipts on napkins, and if we didn't reverse that transaction, we would have held us back another year from uplisting. It was great business, but just a poor record keeper. So that went to 75 million shares. That transaction went back to Treasury on 12/31/13, and I have absolutely no intention of increasing or no intention of doing a reverse. We're working with what we have.
So how many shares outstanding now?
There's 3.5 billion. There's
Billion,
3.4
yeah, I was gonna say billion.
3.4 billion. 3.3 billion are issued. So there's 170 million left.
So where are you getting the money to build this? Just cashing out shares?
No, we have investors,
So,
and we have our deal with Pro. That's
So
all
they
I
would-
can talk about that right now.
but wouldn't they be part of the outstanding?
They weren't given shares,
So why would they invest?
equity or revenue, future revenue. They understand what's going to be made here.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be part of the outstanding shares?
No.
Then what happens to, then I just don't understand
So
how
they
that works.
basically say, let's say you say, I have $20 million, I'll lend you $20 million
Right.
at 8%,
Right,
okay? But I want 25% of your revenue that you're gonna make from this project.
Right, right. But then what about the outstanding shareholders, or the issued shareholders?
Whatever's,
What happens to them?
whatever's left after operation and disbursement to whoever's gonna get, there'll be a dividend. Or you keep the cash for operations and build another building, and another building, and expand. Or that you issue dividends like you would in any other public company. The company won't need to sit on $5 billion, you know what I mean? It goes back to the shareholders. You keep what you need for operations, you keep your war chest, and then you issue a dividend.
The shareholders first, and then the private shareholders separate?
There's no private shareholders, and they're investing in the project. So whether it's a bank that wants to take a revenue position, it all depends on how the deal is structured.
So maybe I can help answer your question.
Sure.
What Phil's saying is we're getting outside funding to make this project possible. And in exchange for that, there's agreements that could involve interest or some revenue sharing. The benefit to the shareholder is that they get to share in the profitability of that opportunity without investing any more of their money. So if we borrow some money and we pay somebody something for using their money, all the money left over goes to everybody in this room who owns shares, and then nobody has to give another dollar. So that's the basic fundamentals of looking at these types of opportunities. So the real benefit to the shareholder is they get to increase the value of the company they hold stock in without investing any more money.
I'm sorry.
Did that make sense?
Can you elaborate a little bit on your plans on acquiring patients? After Health Canada, for what I understand, after Health Canada changes the law,
Yep.
there will be Canada will open doors to, I think somebody referred to as super growers, and I know that there's other companies out there such as Fleet, and some others that are also looking at going public. So I would like for you, if you could try and elaborate, what is your acquisition plan for those patients that are out there, and how you plan on competing and making sure that you get those patients and you don't leave them for the competition.
It starts with one patient. And that one patient experience. And that one patient's out. That's what happened.
But
4 years ago.
a little bit philosophical, can you be a little bit more
Again, to it.
marketing driven, a little bit
Well, we don't want to give away too much either, because there's going to be competitors in the marketplace. But Sam can tell you what he did in his private business. Okay?
We can explain to you, when you have one patient opportunity, you have a relationship you establish. And there are fundamental principles of that relationship. First, the sustain and the retention rates. And there's formulas for retention rates. And so with that, you get multiple patients. So when you start with one patient, it goes to 50, and it goes to 500, and it goes to 5,000, and it goes to 50,000, and so on and so forth. Now, what is the fundamental mechanisms involved? There's education for the patient, there's education for the community surrounding the patient, there's education for the clinician, and there are tools that you can utilize. Because we believe the fundamental principle is the expertise and the data that's forthcoming, that guides and brings direction. The greatest opportunity for success in this business is going to be he or she who holds the data and the capacity to teach how to implement that information.
Can you try, sorry, but I just want you guys
What
to
you
elaborate
need-
on the...
what you need-
Are you going to put a 1-800 number? How many people are going to be picking up the phone? What are your plans?
So you,
How many
what you
dollars a
want,
month,
with all due
how
respect,
many reps?
what you want, with all due respect, is what our competitors want. What I can tell you is there will be a call center. There will be systems in place on CRM and .NET. There will be customized e-commerce solutions. There will be inventory management, inventory calculations, and data reports. Reports, over 200 reports that we will acquire from our data and have a team review this weekly, monthly, quarterly. There will be a client tag, a client ID, and that client ID will have forecasting. And there will be formulas for the forecast. And we will look at 20% projection of the forecast, use that as our model behavior for success, so that we look at our operations at 20% and what we actually need. And so you start with your technology and your call center. And then you have your grassroots. Now there's Health Canada regulations. But your grassroots campaigns, they're not Salesforce. They're part of the consulting. You put together an implementation team. Doctor, this helped 3-4 patients. Wow. How many pool of patients do you have in this disease state? 200. Well, let's look at the revenue model. Let's look at the health outcomes for your patients. Is this feasible? How many nurses do you need? Why? Well, because if it's not a feasible model for him, he can't sustain. And who's going to talk to him? And who's going to take care of him? And who's going to bring that information back and go, guys, Connie just quit. And who's Connie? Connie did all the ordering for all the patients, and Connie did this, and Connie did that. And what do we do to help that clinician? And what tools do we provide for revenue streams and models? Because I can assure you, in a model where you're looking at product, right, you need to know the behavior of your customers. For example, when do clinicians tend to go on vacations? When? Holidays. So what do you anticipate in December? And what type of communication? When do you strike with education? When are you most important? Why? Why do you ask that? Because if I'm the one writing the script for a product, your business fundamentally revolves around that product. So how do you predict? What if I want to write product number 46? 1,700 times. What if I don't want to write a product? What if I want to write a product and I don't know how? What do you have for me? Well, I can assure you CEN Biotech does not just have the philosophy to make a product. We are sensitive to what happens around the product, because what happens around the product is really what makes the product matter. If we have, you ever tasted the best pizza in your entire life? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
No, you haven't, because you haven't tried them all. But you can create the best experience. So, hear me out, okay? I'm a patient. I'm in Vancouver. I need product. I've never taken this before, or I just was on it for a couple of years. Who's going to talk to me? Patient advocates. Patient advocate calls you. Mrs. Jones, how are you? How's everything? And there are parameters for training to comprehend. And there's data input for what is good, what is bad, what is real. And there's a system to calculate and say, guys, we need 63 pounds of this product by next month.
Doesn't that patient have to go to the doctor first? To
Yes.
get a prescription?
Yes,
Well, then that's where the information comes from.
exactly.
Nothing to do with the patient.
It has everything to do with the
Well,
patient.
yeah, it does, but it's between the doctor.
That's a bold
and the
statement.
patient.
I want to understand from you why does it have nothing to do with the patient?
So what I'm trying to say to you, if you're looking at how things are done, you don't know, right now, I need that marijuana. I go to my doctor. I can't go to you. I can't call you and do
Right.
something and say, I want this. I can't do that.
Right,
I don't do that.
right.
So,
And that was my point.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Big round of applause, because he's right. Big round of applause for him, because he's right.
You can talk all you want, but you have to go through that's where the system is.
So exactly. So it goes back to the fundamentals of educating the person writing the product and creating a relationship and establishing not just a relationship, but an education platform. Being able to collect data to say, hey, doc, check out these 50 strains, check out this R&D study, and look what's happened in these patient outcomes. Is there any patient that is not working on any other product? Do you want to try something? Give me your worst 1% of patients, doctor. Give me your worst. Give me the ones that have been failing for years. Give me those. I want those patients first. Those are my favorite. And the doctor says, absolutely. Why? Because he's had a patient come in 6 times in the last 6 months and it's not working. And they've spent $1,000. What do they got to lose for a few bucks? What do they got to lose? And you collect that data. Right? And the patient calls. Patient advocate understands the disease state. You've been struggling for 6 months. I apologize. And there's a scale there, right? There's a scale that measures fundamentally this patient is likely to continue or not continue. So in all honesty, it's about client retention. It's about the factors of client retention, and it's about the dictatorship of the prescription that creates a catalog. Because the worst thing that can happen is we allow for 6,600 ways to write something, and have a bunch of people running around, calling, phones, doing everything they can to tailor. Now the benefit of that is you're getting your experience. You're getting everything you need. We know when your next doctor's appointment is going to be. And so what happens is we have to make a decision because the product catalog is going to dictate your success. Because if it's not understood, it's not prescribed. And if we don't connect with the patient, we don't know the outcome of that response. And so a call center, CRM.net facility, with the e-commerce capabilities, Avaya technology, utilizing grassroots consultants, visiting weekly with our clinicians, having an R&D coalition of data, and giving it out for free.
So what you're saying is you're going to have people visiting those doctors and calling on them?
100%. We're not calling on those doctors. Absolutely not. We're solving problems. We're solving problems.
Are you worried about your competitors that will be on market mid-April, providing products?
Now, I got an answer for you. It's very simple. We came into the pharma market 4 years ago. And I promise you there were probably, actually 4,800 licenses in our field. And we started our business on $40,000 investment. And we were a little crazy. We weren't worried. Because there was a fundamental philosophy that's important. I'm not worried about who has a license where. I'm worried about making my employees really happy. I'm worried about making my patients get better. And I'm worried about educating. I am more concerned with educating the doctor than I am with a competitor. And they should be too. If we cannot see that there's an education campaign that's necessary, the model's not real. If you don't have product predictability, it's going to be tough. Okay, so I'm just trying to understand this process myself too, because if I go to a doctor with a problem today, and he doesn't prescribe me marijuana, he prescribes me something else. He doesn't say one word about it. He writes a script and he walks out the door. And I go take the script either next door to that pharmacy, or I go to Shoppers, and I hand it to some lady who goes in the back and comes out and says, have you ever tried this before? I'm like, no. She'll be like, oh, okay, well, here comes a guy. And he tells me what to do with it.
and I take it, I don't know whether I'm getting Prevacid or I'm getting some other purple pill, Nexium or whatever.
Right.
If it works, it works. I tell my doctor 6 months later that it works. I don't know who sold it to me, who got that product into shoppers. I don't know anything about it. Why is marijuana going to be any different than that experience for any client? And if it's going to be that way, how are you getting the marijuana into Shoppers Drug Mart or into Rexall or whoever? How is that going to be the process?
Excellent question. Do you understand the concept right now of the workflow and how it works?
No.
That's the problem. Bill, do you want to summarize?
You go to your doctor, you get a script, and most of the people are going to come in saying, look, I've tried everything, and I want medical marijuana. Doctor will say, okay, here's the script. They go to Health Canada website, so who should we look at? They have a list of licensed producers. They check out the website, they pick one, or the doctor might say, go to CEN Biotech.
Right.
Okay? They submit the script, fax it to us, do their payment, we send it by courier to their home. It won't be dispensed at a pharmacy.
Why wouldn't shoppers get into this business?
That's not the way the Health Canada set up the model. They do not want to dispense. They don't want dispensaries, they want it direct to patient.
It has to be that way.
Has to be that way. We're not the ones who set it up, it's Health Canada.
Right. Okay, I never understood it.
Does that help?
I'm gonna go back to the line of questioning now, right there. You concerned me there with the 25%, but I'll get to that. And Sam, I gotta give you a lot of credit because I think you're implementing some very common business practices in the real world and bringing it to this, which is probably gonna be, definitely that's gonna be,
Thank you for seeing that.
very much a leader in that regard. But I have a couple questions. You know, and I respect what you envision for this, but from a shareholder's perspective and from my background.
And educate me from a shareholder's perspective,
I'm gonna ask you
because I want to sit here and I want to know too.
So, you mentioned that you're gonna be going back to the drawing board, trying to revise these strains, making it the best out there, that's gonna be consistent and so on and so forth. How much money do we have in the bank to make sure that we don't run out of it before we get to this excellent, most amazing strain that's out there?
Okay, so fundamentally,
that's my first question.
So question one about strains. There are strains available in the natural sense that are amazing and need not be untouched and need not have multiple hybrids. The gene is already there.
Okay.
And so it's about the discovery, the education, and proving it to everyone else that it's really there.
Okay.
So fundamentally, in terms of acquisition price, it's about the basic education that we already had and acquiring information that allows to set up the data. And that data is going to tell you how the market's responding and give you the real fact. But from an investment standpoint, you're looking initially at a few $1,000s to put together a system that can allow you to collect that data. And you're looking at the depth of your subject matter experts that are telling you already about the strains. And you're looking at the history that's already there, which is free information. So fundamentally, because you already started thinking about it in that kind of principle, you're already there as a foundation. Whereas in some cases, it's looked at as a product with percentages, and this percentage is just going to respond this way. And so there's that fundamental principle of I'll have a handful of products with these percentages, I'll leave one out, add one, so there'll be drastic changes, and we'll go to the masses.
Sam, you're obviously a really smart guy. But I'm going to say from a shareholder's perspective, do you have a strain that's ready to be grown when this thing
We have
built,
multiple, yes.
that's going to generate revenue from day one?
Yes.
You're not going to go back to the drawing board a million times.
No, there's no drawing. The drawing board was.
You answer my question. From a shareholder, that's what I care about.
From a shareholder.
We have access to the screen.
Okay.
All right, let me take your hand on that one. That was tough. You did good.
Okay, number two. You mentioned the 25% sharing of revenue with deals with Fox in California, and I'll be honest with you, that's a tough deal to understand. Is that in perpetuity?
Yes.
So we're talking about a 25% margin hit going forward on all revenue.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, okay, how would you like this one if I accepted this deal? I talked to an oil company, okay? You know what? We're the money, you're the brains. We want 80%.
But how much money?
We're the money, you're the brains. We want 80%, okay?
No.
Tobacco company, we want 60%. Okay, so, for me as your CEO, do I take the 80?
But how much money did you raise?
Do I pay the 60?
I'm not saying it's a bad deal.
Raise the 8K. Next question.
Oh, no,
I can't answer, I have a gag order, you can read the 8K like everybody else.
When will these agreements be disclosed, and when will we know how many shareholders have how many shares? And similar to a 10K.
75% is owned by Creative Edge Nutrition. 25% is Grow Life.
Can
I
you,
press released it, and I've stated numerous times.
yeah, can you clarify though, just the confusion with regard to the 8K from you guys, the 8K from, Grow Life?
Who filed the 8K?
We haven't filed an 8K.
Who filed it? That's
Well,
all
the
we
8K
can say.
that you released,
Grow Life released it.
With all due respect, because of where we are, we want you to know, day and night, he's been addressing that. We did not file that.
okay.
That's all we can say.
But there's also trusts, was that not put out by you?
Listen,
I'm just
listen.
out of confusion, I'm not trying to.
We did not file that.
We did not even get to review it before it was filed.
Okay,
There's issues.
Okay? That's all we can say at this time.
So our lawyers are dealing with it.
okay. When do you expect to have an answer? Because that is a confusing thing, you have
Yeah,
different
absolutely.
things, for a shareholder to look at, you
when-
guys say this, they say that.
When it is rectified by the people who are responsible to rectify it, is when we will be able to legally answer it.
Are you demanding that, or?
Absolutely.
We haven't stopped,
Okay.
okay? We haven't stopped. It's unfortunate, I'm come from the private sector. Yeah.
Should the laws in the state be changed? Are you guys
Ooh.
considering a position
Can
to
I,
move?
You talking about Fed?
Yeah.
what can
It's
I,
not-
I understand right now.
It's not relevant here, but in my personal opinion, it's coming. Plain and simple. And will we be ready to jump in the market? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can
Will
I-
we be ready to dominate the market? Absolutely.
can I add to that? About 6 to 8 months ago, we made projections in the sense of, where we should be and what markets we're gonna target and how we're gonna target them. And what philosophies we're gonna use. You know, there's the dispensaries, growing supplies, provisioning centers, right? And then there's also this philosophy. Well, for substance, look at Michigan Bill 660. Educate yourself on Bill 660. And look at the behavior that's going around with a Schedule 2. Can anybody in here name me a drug that is a Schedule 2? Let's use common sense here. Can you name me a Schedule 2 drug? Morphine. Has anyone here heard of oxycodone? Has anyone seen oxycodone sold in your nearest convenience stores? What's that? What was that? What? And so when you ask someone who looks at facts and knows what it does, and it's classified as a Schedule 1, can anyone sell cocaine in their nearest convenience store at this time? No. Okay? No. So, now the next question I'm going to ask you, I want to ask you a question to understand the depth. The next... Yeah,
Let's move on.
I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, look at was it a Forbes article from a couple of days ago? Yes. Look, educate yourself on Washington's position with medical marijuana, cannabis, and hemp. Educate yourselves, because we're doing the same.
Sorry, a couple more questions, we have to wrap up, we have some more.
The cost versus the profit, and, okay.
Rich? Talking per gram, well, it depends, it's gonna be approximately 50 strains, they're gonna vary in price. Let's say approximately $8.50 a gram, cost is $1 a gram.
Well, let's take a look. You also have to look at your workflow process. There's two models here. There's the import-export model, right? Because there's a component where for export, there's not a day-to-day obligation. That day-to-day obligation we've calculated to be about 30 cents a gram for us to succeed in patient engagement as a cost. As a cost for growing, we've looked at a 30-cent
to $1.20 worst case per gram. The percentages of return, worst case conditions, we tried to overspend 50% of what we needed to in cost of goods. And Rich, what did those numbers look like?
Well, I'm gonna be cautious, because that's the type of guy that I am. What I can say is, even if you make mistakes, there's a lot of money in this industry. And, that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
And
So how many pounds are being used now?
You know, honestly, I can't touch that.
Right now, there's currently 30,000 medicinal users in Canada.
37,000.
Next year, there's set to be around 300,000.
I estimate 500.
So what's your estimate revenue for this industry just in Canada in the next 3 or 4 years?
Billion. It'll be billion.
But, Health Canada estimated this industry in Canada to be just 1.3 billion in 2020.
Because they didn't take into consideration that their model is changing. You're going from a system where you're going to the doctor and begging for them to fill out 25 pages to send Health Canada to get you access into the program, to a system where you go to your doctor and say, I want marijuana, you fill the script, and you send it in.
And we take that.
16.5% of the population use marijuana.
So if you,
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you any Canada.
what's the timetable on the process of getting the actual permit from Health Canada versus the process of the state or projection fundamentally?
We're targeting 8 to 12 weeks to get an inspection and license.
And what about dollar in revenue?
Then you start growing. So you're hopefully 3 months after that.
Specifically, what makes you so confident that you're going to receive the license from Health?
They just call them looking for reasons.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know what? The team we put together, first of all, the team we put together and what we asked to do, what we asked to grow, got me a call from Health Canada, from the head of the program, 45 minutes on the call, talking about what we're going to do. I mean, I got to say, we're next door to OpenC. We have everything covered. We have security. We have QA/QC. We have policies, procedures, things we're implementing that you will not see anywhere. We are setting the standards for medical marijuana in this country and in the world. Plain and simple. We will get licensed, in my opinion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
The weather's changed, it's gotten really cold and icy, there'll be people at the door to help you do your car. Those of you who want to stay and ask Phil and Sam questions are here. Thank you, but for those of you who might want to get statistics, we'll be waiting outside for you to help you do your car. There's a question and answer box.
Are you at the door?
Yeah.
Write your question, we'll answer them and post them online.